Good evening to all of you guys, or good day, dependent on when you watch this video. And I welcome you guys and girls from Form 4 to this video about the theme: how did enslaved Africans and enslaved Creoles resist in the wider Caribbean, and this time with a focus on Suriname, Jamaica, and Guyana. Important terminology, word that is important here is enslaved Creoles, because we are not talking about people born in Africa anymore. We are also talking about the children and the grandchildren of these African people who created their own Creole culture, like I said before in the videos. A new term. As I said, for Form 4. We're going to talk about the reasons for success of the Maroon communities. I'm not going to talk about all of them. That will take at least an hour, but I've taken two that I could think I could explain very easily and very well in a video, and one of them is geography. Well, the Maroons that escaped, the slaves that escaped from the plantations in Jamaica and Suriname and Guyana and other places, settled in mountainous areas. They settled in areas difficult to access for the planters, for the European colonizers, hard to access for their militias and armies. Also, they fled to the jungle, like in Suriname and Guyana, close to the Amazon, and even their own jungles, or in caves, like sometimes happened on the island of Curacao when people escaped. They did also in caves, for instance, the Hato caves are well known for that. And if they could flee in this manner, they had less problems with European planters, European colonizers, and their militias and their armies harassing them and following them because they couldn't go to those places because it was too jungle-like, or they were too high, or they were very difficult to access for European colonizers, planters, and their militias and their armies. The second success is treaties. Treaties means trata means like a contract between two groups of people where they write down what the obligations for the part are and the obligations for the other part. So there were treaties between the Maroon communities and the European planners. This is a very organized thing to do, and it says something about the organization and the coherence, how they work together within the Maroon communities. Well, this shows that the European colonizers and the planters had fear and respect for the Maroon communities, and in the end of the First and Second Maroon War, they signed treaties together uh, where they wrote down what their obligations were from coming from the European colonizers and coming from the Maroon communities and their leaders. This is one example of a treaty at the end of the First Maroon War. And it's written down what are the obligations for the European colonizers and what are the obligations and the rights for the Maroon communities, in this case in Jamaica. Well, for instance, they wrote down, the European colonizers, the planters wrote down that they had the right to independent communities. So they had the right to exist. They had the right of, of their own part of the island of Jamaica in this instance. So this is really something. And the second is, and this is something that is telling, that's why I did an exclamation point, they agreed to return, capture runaway slaves. Yeah. So this means that they also became a part of the European colonizer system, in which if new slaves from the plantations tried to get to the Maroon communities, it was a part of the deal, it was a part of the peace of the Maroon communities to deliver those back to their owners. So when the treaty was signed, they could not just accept runaway slaves anymore because they would break the treaty and a war would begin again. So this is also telling that the Maroon communities, in a way, became a part of the colony in an autonomous way, in an independent way, but still into the bigger framework, the bigger whole, the bigger part of the colony of the French, the Dutch, or even the English. This is really telling, I think. And this is all in this treaty that you can see here. So, for instance, yeah, that Captain Cudjoe and his successors shall wait on His Excellency or the Commander in Chief for the time being, once every year, if they are so required. So they had once a year they had to talk with the colonizers, or yeah, that Captain Cudjoe with his people shall cut, clear, and keep open a large convenient roads from Trelawny Town, so Westmoreland and St James, and if possible to St Elizabeth. So they also had an obligation to clear out the roads between their part of the island and other parts of the island. Yeah, so they really became a part of the island. To the right here, you can see the autograph of the leader of the Maroon communities and the leader of Jamaica on behalf of the British government. So this was really officially a treaty between the Maroon communities and the British government on Jamaica. Very official and with obligations from both parts and rights to both parts. Yeah. So this is really one part of the Maroon success, as you can see here. I will close this off by connecting with the syllabus, section A, taking from the 2023 syllabus, and this is all about explain the origins and development of Maroon societies. And the content is Maroon societies, origins and development of the Maroon societies in Jamaica, in Suriname, and of course in Guyana. Yeah, and especially we talked about in this video was development, and development means also desarrollo. Yeah, that's the translation within Papiamento. Yeah. So we've seen now in this video how the Maroon communities developed. Yeah, looking at Maroon wars, treaties, and the two factors for success, two reasons, examples for reasons for success of the Maroon communities. I hope you found this video enlightening and informative and educating. As always, subscribe below, and if you have questions, also ask them below this video.